Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Leading Our Own Way here on YouTube. I want you to ask yourself what happens when a teacher discovers that his greatest struggle might actually be his superpower. Well, today I'm going to interview Sean Nancarrow. He's actually a good friend of mine. We met here in the education system here in Victoria, Australia. He is a person that's going to be vulnerable today. He opened up a little bit about his journey to me as we got closer in our journey together as a friend, as a colleague, and he knew about the podcast. And I said, wow, would you be willing to share it on the podcast? And he said yes. So I'm really proud of Sean. And I don't mean that in a patronizing way, but I'm really proud of Sean for stepping out of his comfort zone, being vulnerable, because that's his message, is to be vulnerable, take that mask off, because there's somebody always there. We're going to dive into his ADHD journey. We're going to dive mainly into his journey as a child growing up in Townsville, up in Queensland, Australia, where he dealt with bullying, and a part of his journey that we can't go into, not just yet. It's a deep one, it's raw, parts of it are dark, and we all go through this, and Sean wants to get the message out there. Anyway, this is a conversation about turning pain into purpose. As you know, I'm Andrew White, your host, and this is Leading Our Own Way. Please enjoy this part one of 3 parts here on YouTube this week with Sean Nancarrow. Welcome to Leading Our Own Way. I'm your host, Andrew White, and this is the podcast that unveils captivating narratives of resilience and personal triumph. This podcast is for anyone seeking inspiration and insights on overcoming life's challenges. Follow and subscribe, and then we can lead together forever. Sean Nancarrow, welcome to Leading Our Own Way. How are you this evening, brother?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. It's good to speak with you tonight. It's awesome.
Yes, and we've had this on the cards for a pretty long time now. And first of all, I actually want to start off by saying thank you for. I know tonight you're going to be showing your vulnerability on the podcast, and it's a difficult position, particularly how we met. We both work in education. We met actually. You was kind of like my former boss working on the holiday program, Billy.
No, that was actually a really good time. I reckon we
It
had
was
a
a
lot of
great time.
fun on those programs.
We did,
Yeah.
and you've moved into education as a teacher since then, and I'd been teaching a very long time, but now I'm stepping away from teaching, and you're kind of just coming into teaching.
Yeah, I think you gave me when we worked in that program, you gave me a lot of advice around finishing the degree and becoming a teacher, and that advice, like we've always had a really strong connection. And I think that advice you gave me really pushed me to becoming a teacher in the end and really going for that. So yeah, thanks for that. But
Oh,
yeah,
I did not know. That made me feel good. I've
yeah,
got goose pimples. I appreciate that.
yeah.
I don't remember that what the advice was, by the way, but if it was, I hope it was good.
You just said to be you, and make sure the
Yeah,
kids are getting their best. You make sure the kids are giving their best by you being your best. So and that's something that I try and stick with in my everyday teaching.
you know, I can relate. I probably did say that because I say that to everybody. That piece of advice never nudges in any other direction. I think connection is the first most important thing when it comes to education and teaching or leadership for that matter in any shape or form, to be fair, any network, any profession. And I think a lot of places have kind of stepped away from the art of connection, and people don't understand the art of connection at a very deep level. But so that's one piece of advice I always give, but I'm glad that stuck with you. I appreciate that. But
Yeah,
tonight's all about you, and I
yeah,
wanted to say thank you for showing your vulnerability, because I know this is not easy necessarily, but you're an example of you just don't know what's going on in people's lives. I didn't know about your journey when we worked together in the holiday programs. Now working in schools, I didn't really, until I probably announced and you saw the podcast existed, I never knew about your journey. And I think you just dropped a bit of a comment once, and I said, well, why don't you come and share it if you feel safe to? And you said yes, and I was like, oh wow, this is amazing. So
yeah.
thank you for coming on my journey on Leading Our Own Way, and thanks for being vulnerable. You have been on a bit of a journey. Talk to us a little bit about what your journey is at the moment.
So my journey. So about 10 months ago, I had a son. Um, and a lot of emotions and feelings really popped up in my brain. And at the same time as having my son, I was diagnosed with ADHD, talking to psychiatrists and psychologists, and it brought back a lot of memories that from the past that didn't sit well with me, and it really made me struggle in a sense of I didn't know how to, I didn't know where to go forward. I started to feel and have those same emotions I was having when I was a 15-year-old boy in high school, and those emotions were detrimental to me. They were some of the hardest times in my life, and then with that, I started to seek help with a wonderful psychologist who builds me up and builds programs builds programs in me that makes me feel comfortable in myself and makes me comfortable in being able to share my trauma and being comfortable with able to move on from my trauma. It's something that as a boy, sort of growing up, the lessons that I sort of learned were you can't be emotional. You can't show weakness. And weakness is sharing your emotions. So, and that never sat well with me. And so now sharing my emotions fortnightly, monthly with a psychologist has really, really benefited me and made me into a really stronger person.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. So if I could ask you then how you're leading your own way now, and that's a question I start off with usually with all my guests, because I want the viewers to understand the path that you're currently on, and then we'll go back and then we'll talk about some of the times you went through, some of the difficult times, and share your journey, because that's where you will bring your vulnerability into it. But people can see the light that you're in now and the light that you're sitting in, but that doesn't come easy. Sometimes it comes at a cost. But how, if you could put it into a bit of a journey for us right now, how are you leading your own way?
Firstly, I love the leading your own way. I saw it when I first saw it. I was just like, it really connected with me.
Oh,
And how I'm leading my own way, is I choose growth over comfort. Um, so I'm not waiting for things to get better on their own. I'm taking ownership in my healing. I'm seeking therapy, um, and by doing that, I'm not staying in the same cycle. I'm moving out of that cycle and I'm moving into a area where I can be the best dad. I can be the best husband. I can be the best friend. I can be the best teacher. They're things that I've really wanted to make stronger and build something stronger rather than just being hurt. Um,
yeah,
I'm trying to turn myself into a strong leader. I've never seen myself as a leader, um, but that's what I'm trying to do, is turn myself into this strong leader who is relentless, passionate, and powerful. So they're three things that I've really wanted to try and make myself that, and not relentless as I'm relentless and I'm tough and strong, and relentless is that I'll never give up on things. I will always do my best to make sure things happen for uh, Val or my wife or the kids at school. And I believe that's brave as hell. I believe by doing those things, it's brave. And that's what I want my legacy to be. So, yeah.
yeah. It's weird that it not weird. That's the wrong word. But what you said about growth versus comfort, I find that amazing, and I love that, because I look at the word growth, but I also look at you. What I took from it, and what I say quite a lot on the podcast is, I suppose it's being comfortable with the uncomfortable, isn't it? And
Yeah.
that's equals growth, and allowing a little bit of struggle here and there, healthy struggle, builds resilience. So are you currently at the moment then going through, I suppose, a lot of uncomfortable phases, but not viewing it in that way, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Like I still go through, um, I still go through pretty hard times. Um, and I have pretty hard emotions that I experience, and thoughts, dreams, and that sort of thing that I'm really struggling with. But something that I'm trying to do is, if I have those thoughts or I have those feelings, who can I be on my worst day? And how can I use those things on my worst day to make myself better? Because I don't want my worst day to be someone who sits on a couch and just does nothing. I want to be the
Mm.
person that says, you know what, that is that is my pain, that is my trauma, that is my demons. But let's move on. And if I sit there and wallow on that, that might help me, but it's gonna affect the people around me. And the people around me have put their backs out for me, um, and love me. And that's something that um, I will ever be in debt for, because that's why I push through these things, as the people I have in my life.
Yeah. So okay then. So with those hard emotions that you feel in the current day, for anyone that maybe can relate to what you're saying, but isn't quite maybe there where you are in terms of how you handle it, what piece of advice could you give? Or no, what it is advice. You, I suppose the answer is, how do you get through those messy moments? How do you make that shift for it to not go in that direction?
It can be tough. Like, they're not saying that every day is like this works. It sometimes
Yeah.
doesn't. It sometimes I'm in this mindset of just like, I'm worthless. I'm nothing. I have so much pain, and it hurts. It is sometimes just, I am not who I am. I'm wearing this mask. And I would say the advice I would give is take off the mask, because I wore a mask for a very long time. Um, I tried to make people think that I was this jovial bloke that just was mucking around and silly and makes comments, and that's all that people knew me for, is this, oh, he's just that guy that makes weird comments. Because that was my mask, and that was what I thought I needed to do to be better. So take off the mask and show people your feelings, show people your emotions. It's tough, it's hard, it'll hurt at first, but it's something that we need to do as a society, is be able to express our feelings. It's something that I want Val to be able to do as a young male in the society, is be able to express his feelings and show empathy and kindness, and be just someone that is going to be reliable for other people's emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Is there anything that you do on a particular, is there anything, yeah, is there like a routine that you fulfill on a daily basis to set yourself up well for the day? Is there a particular way you start off your day maybe that you can share?
Yeah. I think early, what I do now is I really try and get myself around Val in the mornings, and it just that the light inside me when I'm with him is undeniable, and it's something that he's just changed my life forever. Is having this boy that looks at me with pure joy, and that makes me just like, it makes me melt. But I would say things that I do when I get in these moments where I'm having a really hard time is get out, do something active. Don't, if you do something active, you will forget. Or not forget, but you'll feel good, better. It's like, I will go out for a walk, or I'll go out for a run, or I'll go for a swim, or I'll go for a dive. Um, which is something that I'm the worst at with ADHD. I'm the worst at going and doing different hobbies. I'm a serial hobbyer. So like, a couple of years ago, I got into triathlons. Yeah, the 30-year-old triathlon time. So I was like, yep, it's midlife crisis, jump in a triathlon. Um, and I just felt joy the whole time doing it. Like, you know, when you feel pain, it wasn't that. I never felt that. I was like, this is possibly one of the best things I've ever done. And I felt that the whole way. I did feel buggered up at the end, but
Yeah.
just getting out, being active, being around friends who share the same share the same values of being able to express emotions. And if you have someone in your life that's not like that, I would say educate them. People say get rid of them. They're not worth it. I don't say, if there's someone in your life like that, educate them.
Yeah.
Say, look, we need to share emotions because of these things. I need to be able to express these things to you, or that's not really a friendship. Um, so educate them. Educate them to be better, because that's what we need. We all need to be better in doing that, because like you know yourself, Andy, we grew up in a time where emotions wasn't a thing that you could share. Um it wasn't easy to do that. And I really struggled with that. I didn't have a good role model to push me in sharing emotions. I probably had the opposite. Um, so yeah, be better, educate, get out, be active, and get around your friends as much as possible, family, um, and say,
Connection.
yeah, say I'm not having a good day. Say I feel upset. Say I feel really emotional. Tell them that.
Yeah.
Their answer is not going to be, I don't really want to talk about this. They're going to be like, why
Yeah.
do you feel emotional? Why do you feel upset? What can I do for you?
Yeah.
So that's something that I do. If someone comes up and says, I'm not having a good day, I'm like, what can I do for you, mate? Like, can I be there for you? Um, I think every friend I have in my phone could call me and say, would feel like they could call me and say, hey, I feel shit today. Do you have advice? Do you feel better? I've always been sort of the older person in my group of friendship, in my friendship group, which is I'm the butt of the jokes with being the old bloke, but it's also I also feel like I've got a lot more stories and I've got a lot more life that I've lived. So I'm able to help out with a bit of I don't know, a bit of wisdom, I guess, in my sense of wisdom. So yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely, you've got a lot to offer, that's for sure. A couple of things there. It's one of my former. You said about the midlife crisis, and one of my former guests made me change my whole perception of midlife crisis, because parts of me I'm probably going through a midlife crisis. But he said, "Well, why does it have to be a midlife crisis? Crisis? Why can't it be a midlife awakening?"
Mm.
And I think I was like, "Yeah, he's so right," and it lines up with what you just said. It wasn't a crisis, it was awakening. You found something that was so powerful for you, yeah, and so beneficial on many aspects, your health, your mental clarity, and so on. Yeah, I don't know if that was a crisis. Probably it was your awakening, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm really bad at picking up new hobbies that are expensive. So so I was like,
Like what, give us an example.
so I've done, or what have I done? I've done the triathlon. Went and bought a $700 bike. I bought a tri suit to wear on the day. I bought new runners. I bought sunnies. I bought all the stuff for that. What else have I done? I started getting into diving, and I went out and
No.
bought a spear gun. I went and bought goggles. I went and, like, these are the things that I go and do, and it's just like, hey Sean, why don't you get a hobby that's free?
Why
So
don't you just go green, like you barefoot bowling or something?
yeah, like do something that doesn't cost you your whole paycheck for the week. Like, um, but
That's
also,
hilarious.
um, the best thing about some of the things I've got into is, especially the two, so diving and the triathlons, is I've become really connected to the ocean recently, and that's something that I would also suggest is find somewhere peaceful, um, when you're in those moments, because my peaceful place is probably going to the ocean and just sitting in the water. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is or why it is, but sitting in the ocean just makes me calm. I
I'll tell
love
you
it.
what it is. And not to sound hippie or anything, but the science suggests when we touch the earth, sand, soil, or grass, and even
Mm.
water in that sense, because you are still touching the earth, you're a sense polarizing yourself. So you're connecting to what humans used to touch non-stop all day. Well, obviously,
Yeah,
since we've concreted the earth and we've made roads and we put shoes on, when our bodies are not actually touching the raw materials of the planet. So I've actually done this. Pluck your red blood cell. pluck yourself, go and look at your blood under a microscope, and you can see all your red blood cells clumped together. And then if you go and stand on sand, soil, or grass, which you will do if you go into the ocean anyway, but then come out and do the same thing after about 10 minutes, go and look at the blood then, and you'll see all the red blood cells separated like eggs in an oily pan.
Mm.
They're all separated, so which means, you know, the cells are doing what they're supposed to be doing and be able to defend themselves. But when they're all clogged together, surface area is reduced, and that's what, when they're not able to work optimally, they're becoming comfortable, they're becoming relaxed, and when they become relaxed, they're not having the defense mechanisms up, which means you're allowing disease, infections, and so on, which obviously affects your moods and affects
Yeah.
other things in your life and mental health.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's why you're probably feeling good and at peace, because you're doing that so often, or well, or
Yeah.
for a period of time. You know, when you go on holiday, why do you feel so good? It's because you've probably not been putting your shoes on. You've been probably going walking around on the
But
beach and
as a kid, I hated shoes. So
oh well, yeah,
it's actually something that me and my cousin have in common. Like we used to walk around everywhere with no shoes, and it was probably it's probably gross now. Like
yeah.
we used to go
Depends where you're
shopping.
walking, I
We
suppose.
used to go everywhere, no shoes. My mum used to hate it. Put in your shoes. No, not putting on. Like I'd go anywhere. I'd go everywhere. At school, I'd always, like, you always see kids take off their shoes. I always used to take my shoes off, and like, I'm that teacher now, being like, "Put your shoes back on. What are you doing?" I'm like,
Mm.
hypocrite. Like, I used
Do you
to do
still tell
that.
them to put the shoes on now?
Yeah, I'm like, put your shoes on. I don't want you to get hurt.
Yeah.
So
It's weird because if I could own a school, I'd be doing most of my lessons outside, and I'd be like, "Yeah, take your shoes off. All good.
yeah,
You'll feel good.
it's
It'll reduce some of the behavior problems that we have. Trust me."
yeah. Like my cousin's girlfriend was like, he's got this weird thing with not wearing shoes. I'm like, no, that's a family thing. That's we. I've got that
That's
too.
what you do.
So yeah, no,
Hello. So you just said you've been recently diagnosed about a year ago with ADHD. How has that made a difference in your life, and how has a lot of good come from that, or has it gone the other way?
yeah. So I would say a lot of good has come from it, but the good coming from it also be is able allows you to think about things a lot harder, or feel things a lot harder. And so the hard thing is when when I've taken medication, and I have those um, moments where I'm seeing the trauma, or that sort of thing. I'm experiencing it firsthand all over again, and I'm feeling the
Mm.
same way. I'm having the same emotions. I'm having the same feelings, and it's so weird. It's probably one of the weirdest feelings I've ever experienced.
Well,
But on the flip side, my whole way of planning, organizing, all those sort of things are a lot better because, and by the way, the medication doesn't make that better. You've also got to have the skill to do it.
mm.
Medication just helps your like calm a bit, I would say.
And has that
So if you
worked
don't
well
have,
for you?
yeah, so that's worked well for me. It's been able to let me do it more just because I've
Yeah.
been calmer and relaxed to be able to do it. And I was sitting down with a friend, and they were diagnosed with ADHD as well, and I was like, yeah, I think I have ADHD. Like, you know that comment that everyone used to make, I have ADHD, I have ADHD. And my partner was like, no, you don't have ADHD. Like, you're so not like you're not ADHD. She didn't understand what the meaning of ADHD was. It is the most confusing thing in the world. So
It's it's named poorly,
attention,
I think.
yeah, attention deficit, no, yeah, attention deficit hyperactivity
Hyper.
disorder.
Yeah.
So attention deficit, I have too much attention. So I don't have a deficit of attention. I have too much attention.
Hmm.
And hyperactive, I was a hyperactive kid, but kids are hyperactive. Every kid is hyperactive. You look at any kid in a classroom, they've got their moments of being hyper.
Of
So
course.
I would say it's like I wouldn't even know what to name it, to be honest, but it it's definitely not that.
No,
Um,
it's well, I can explain it. So deficit. It's not a deficit disorder. You're 100% correct, and that's why it's named poorly. It's the inability to focus on. It's not ADHD is not the inability to focus. It's the inability to focus on more than one thing.
Mm.
It's essentially that there's too many windows open at the same time that can't be controlled or managed well. You know what I'm saying? So, if you you're in education, if you give your whole class, and I'm guessing there's a percentage have been diagnosed with ADHD, because I mean every class I go to, there's a few that are on medication that have to go and do what they need to do, and if you give them iPads, they're all focused. So there's proof in there that
Mm.
it's not the inability to focus. There could be layers to it. Couldn't it? It could be trauma. It could be an example of how they live their life. It could be an example of the food that they're putting into their bodies. It could be the things that are just being taught are just not interesting enough.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I start talking to to kids about, I don't know, memory and attention, I give them codes. I give codes to all these schools I go to. I always say to them, look, guys, I'm going to give you the most meaningless code ever. It's pointless. It's the worst thing a teacher can do. And straight away, they're all zoomed up on me. They're ready to go. If you go around where we live, you'll find out this code, and it'll become from Mr. White. Oh, yep, there's Andy again giving his code
Yeah.
out. And I give this code out, and I teach them about the pathways and attention and memory and how the pathways work and so on, right? I know we're going off track here, but very quickly. I give them this code. I've got kids coming up to me a year later telling me this code. There's proof that these kids can do anything they want in life, but their focus is in the wrong area. They've not
Yeah.
been given the right maybe inspiration or direction, and so on, right? And these kids just thrive on these little moments. So maybe we just need to re-angle of some, not all, what we're actually teaching. Are we making it
Yeah.
interesting? Are the teachers being themselves, as you mentioned before, as a core value? Are you being yourself as a teacher? Are you giving these kids space and time and feeling heard, seen, and valued, which is the art of connection? It goes even deeper to that. It's fine feeling seen, heard, and valued, but you know, there's understanding and expression that goes along building up the art of connection. And not a lot of people understand the art of connection. They can label it, but are they really doing it? And
Yeah.
I know I've gone off track there slightly, but I find all that stuff really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
and you
yeah.
know, and things have changed. The other point is we give so much information over now. We take in more information in one day than a human did their whole life 100 years ago.
Yeah.
How are our brains able to keep up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's a
Yeah.
tough one,
No,
isn't it?
it's tough because like you're also getting this aspect of, and I've seen it a lot in social media where people are saying, "Oh, you're just getting diagnosed because of you want the diagnosis." I said, "No, like that's not like that's really unfair because
Yeah,
my brain works like this. So firstly, I had to go to my doctor. Before I went to my doctor to talk about this, I hadn't been to a doctor for 3 years.
yeah,
So I had to go to a doctor and then, by the way, I don't trust doctors. I've never tried, I found it really hard to trust doctors. I do now. I have a really amazing doctor who supports me with everything that I've gone through with my celiac disease and my ADHD. Um,
good.
and, um, Firstly I had to do that. Then I had to go and get a referral. And then I had to call someone and say, I would like to get assessed. Then I had to go on a waiting list. Then I had to wait for them to do the first test. Then I had to answer an hour worth of questions. Then I had to wait another 4 weeks to then answer another hour worth of questions. Then I had to wait another 4 weeks to answer another hour of questions to get diagnosed.
Yeah, well,
That's not easy for someone with ADHD to do. If you can go and
no.
do that and that's easy for you, you shouldn't be doing it. It wasn't
Mm.
easy. It was hard. It was tough. I was going crazy in my mind. Also, my wife is nearly 8, 9 months pregnant. So that's also the element that I'm seeing. That's the struggle um that we were going through at that time. So it's not an easy process. Uh,
No.
and it's like, and then on the other hand, you have parents that are like, I don't want my kid to have a diagnosis. It's not fair on them. It's not a fair diagnosis. You know what? It's not a reflection on you.
Mm.
It's not a reflection on you. So for example, my mum doesn't like that kids are diagnosed with ADHD because she thinks it's changed. Like she thinks kids will get bullied. I said to her, No, they won't. I said, there's probably, I don't know what the statistics are, but I'd say there's 4 kids with ADHD in every class in Australia, nearly. I would
On
say
average,
close
probably have
to.
to agree. Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be a thing. It doesn't have to come out. It doesn't have to be spoken about. If it's managed correctly, it's fine. The other thing
Mm.
is, what my psychiatrist told me is, if you get diagnosed early with ADHD, this is what's unlucky about me is there is a very strong chance that you will be pretty much when you're an adult be able to not be on medication. You'll be able to live a life because you would have developed the skills to set your life up as a kid. But I guess with generations of sort of our generation and that ADHD was very taboo. It was not a thing. It was very we don't sort of like it wasn't a thing that you'd push for.
Mm.
Especially I think I was um, when I was at school, I was definitely referred a few times, but they've got to get parent permission. So and if people don't agree with what ADHD, it's not going to happen, and that's a sad reality. And today, if I had a class full of kids with ADHD, I could manage it easy
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
they're not naughty kids, they're not mean kids, they're kids that just need a bit more to do. They just need some more activities. They need more. They need something to really energize them. And when they have that, they're flying. I love seeing kids
Absolutely.
absolutely just get into a task and be like, I love this, I love this, I love this. They're talking really fast and they're really excited, and that's the ADHD talking, but they're
Yeah.
killing it and they're getting it right because
Yeah.
they're passionate about it. So if you make something passionate, if you get kids, I guess, if you do things for kids that are on their interests, they're going to love it no matter what. So you could make the most boring thing interesting. So that's something
Absolutely.
that I try to do in my classroom is make that boring thing interesting. So yeah.
That's it. That's the art of connecting you as a human to the through to the curriculum, through to the child, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
trying to make the most boring things exciting, but you might not need to make something exciting that to some children because they might just find the other bit the way you were going to do it anyway exciting.
Mm,
You have to understand each child as an individual to it's a hard task though, isn't it? On a
yeah.
daily basis it's definitely a hard task because every child is different, you know.
Yeah. Also, kids with ADHD, in my opinion, have the strongest empathy for kids around them. They
Mm.
have the strongest emotions, but they also have the strongest empathy. They show so much empathy to people around them. And that's something that I'm not sure why that is, but every kid that I've seen who has ADHD has so much empathy. It's ridiculous.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I've never thought about it like that before. That's something I'm gonna have to observe going forward, I guess.
Like
Yeah, fascinating.
watch a kid with ADHD apologize to you.
Yeah,
It's so
I will.
sincere. It
Mm.
actually, like when they've come down from their, if they've had a moment, when they've come down and they've gotten to their mindset, look at look at their apology. They are the most sincere apologies that you'll get.
Yeah, wow. So going back to you as a father, it sounds like having Val would obviously change your life. Um, Maybe change your perspective to a certain point. Well, not to a certain point, all the way. Um, did you said connected to that topic that you didn't really have a role model? What was your childhood like then? Did you have a role model in a father or anyone else in your life? Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.